My name is from FUJIFILM. I'm delighted to host this year's X Summit 2020 in London. And it's amazing that we can launch it at the FUJIFILM House of Photography, which we only launched in December. Already we've had over 50,000 people through the door, which is really, really exciting for us. And it's the biggest experience center we have in the world. It's a great place for you to immerse yourselves in everything that's great in Fujifilm and everything that's fantastic in photography. We've got a variety of different zones, from instant playground, which you can look at everything that's Instax related, from cameras to printers. We also got some amazing cameras in our X series range and our GFX lineup as well. You can come and immerse yourselves and get hands-on with everything around the store. We've also got a Wonder Photoshop area where you can utilize all the printing facilities that we have. You can create prints, mugs, canvases, t-shirts, anything you can imagine. Be as creative as you like. We've got a wonderful lounge downstairs called the Longacre Lounge for our FPS members to come and relax and network with other photographers. We've also got a studio downstairs which you can hire. We've got some social studios upstairs which are free of charge to use as well. We've got a fabulous gallery space upstairs as well. I'd like to welcome you all to the House of Photography and to the X Series Summit as well. So let's kick off X Summit London 2020. Come follow me.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to X Summit 2020. And I'd like to say a massive thank you to everyone that's tuned in this evening from around the world. And thank you to all our audience to be here tonight. I'd like to introduce our guests this evening. I'd like to introduce Barney Britton from Deep Review. Masa Imai from Fujifilm. Valerie Jardin from the US. Joe Allen from the UK. And last but not least, Shindo Dono from Fujifilm. Thank you. I'd like to now pass over to Shin to start the presentation this evening.
Oh,
Thank you.
very quick. Okay, so I'm Shin Dono from Fujifilm headquarters in Japan. So today, we talked about our lenses and cameras, and our first agenda is GFX system. Okay, so let me kick off the X Summit. So with this agenda. 10 days ago, I think you know, we introduced new GF zoom lens, 45 to 100 millimeter f4. So now we have 3 GF zoom lens lineup. So these lenses cover the range from 32 millimeter to 200 millimeter. And 2 more new lenses are added on the roadmap. So one is GF 80 millimeter f1.7. Another one is a GF 30 millimeter f3.5. So these lenses are still under development phase, but today I give you a little bit details of these 2 lenses. So first is a 80 millimeter f1.7. So this will be the fastest lens among large format system ever. So 80 millimeter is designed mainly for portrait shooting with brighter aperture. As we have another portrait lens, we call GF 110 millimeter. So let me explain the difference between 80 millimeter and 110 millimeter. So image quality. So 110 millimeter, they produce very sharp image. On the other hand, 80 millimeter, they create very soft and warm image. Especially just shape of bokeh will be very soft and creamy. So it's difficult to say which is better. But we want to propose different lens taste to the portrait photographers. And the next is the size. So 80 millimeter lens will be 20% smaller than 110 millimeter. And the weight will be less than 800 grams. so easy to carry, easy to take out. And compact 80 millimeter will be good for outside and active shooting. So then let's move on GF 30 millimeter f3.5. So it's a prime wide lens, so 24 millimeter in 35 millimeter format equivalent. So this is the best lens for landscape photography. So aperture start at f3.5. So someone may say it's not so bright, but our lens, so that this lens has better resolution, so very sharp image and less distortion. So, and the size is very compact. Also the response, so shouldn't be compromised. So autofocus speed, so will be very quick. So this lens is not only for landscape, but also street photography. So, and today we have actual size mock-up. It's mock-up. So I would like to hear the opinion from our guest. Okay. So this is 80 millimeter f1.7 together with GFX 100. So this is a 30 millimeter f3.5 together with GFX 50R. So I pass on to Barney.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Joe.
So Barney, I know you're experienced with the GFX system. It'd be good to know your thoughts on these type products.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have shot fairly extensively with the 100. And it's definitely a sensor that challenges lenses. I mean, some of the, I know all of the lenses in Fuji's lineup have always sort of been designed for higher resolutions, but it's definitely a sensor that punishes lenses which can't quite. So my hope would be that, you know, these deliver 100 megapixels of resolution, and no reason to doubt that they would. I think the size is very nice, the balance is very nice. I know these are only mock-ups, but they're roughly the same weight. So. No, I mean, obviously without seeing some real glass inside them, it's a little bit hard to be specific, but I think they're great additions to the lineup as well. I'm a big fan of standard primes. So.
Yes.
Yeah, they're pretty great. I don't have a great amount of experience with the GFX. I've shot a little bit with it, but the thing that I'm always kind of interested by, especially with this rangefinder one, probably more so with the 30mm. I'd be intrigued to know more on the autofocus speed. Although if it's not working, that's not going to...
Well, these focus terribly slowly.
I mistake.
They're both working samples, so
Oh,
yeah,
are they?
Yeah, you can, yeah.
Excellent. Let's have a look. I'm not sure. But yeah, the actual focal range of it is definitely right in my line of things. So if I was to convert onto, so if I'm shooting with my XH1, 90% of the time I either have a 35mm or a 23mm. So having the 30mm on here, which is giving a similar field of view to the 24, is that
About,
right?
yeah, 24.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is more in line with the way that I would shoot if I was to attempt GFX on street and urban stuff.
It's nice to have the speed as well. I mean, obviously the aperture has a reduction factor applied to. This is a 1.4 equivalent, roughly. Is that right?
Almost, yeah.
60, 1.4-ish. I mean, that's a really nice fast standard prime for the system, so it definitely fills a welcome gap.
This is very smooth.
And also this has an autofocus. And the GFX 100 has a phase detection sensor, so the focus will be very quick and very accurate.
Nice.
That's great.
Very nice.
Thanks for that. I'll pass
Okay,
on
thank
to-
you very much. Yeah. Okay, so let's move on next agenda. So the next is firmware for GFX. So it's a new technology for IBIS unit. So we plan to add new function for GFX 100. So in the current GFX 100, so IBIS unit works under micrometer order, like this. So because the pixel pitch, so the pixel size is 3.7 micrometer. So now we start development of the new technology, sub-micrometer order control. So our target is 10 times smaller pitch control so the very small, so the distance, and so why do we develop this technology? It's a key technology for pixel shift. So pixel shift technology will enable 400 megapixel shooting on GFX 100. So more pixels, we can record, we can archive everything, anything. More pixels, more pixels, more pixels, more pixels, and more. So like this. Okay. So move on to next agenda. So we go into the XF, X series lens system. For the last 12 months, we launched 3 new lenses. So 16 f2.8 and XF 16 to 80 zoom lens and XC 35mm f2. So now we have 34 X mount lenses. And I think you remember in the last X Summit in Shibuya, Japan, so we introduced XF 50mm f1.0. So this lens will be coming this year, 2020. So today, so let me give you an update of the development of this 50mm 1.0 lens. So this shows the lens construction. So actually this is the first time, so we show the details in public. So there are large front glass elements here, you see, and including 2 ED lenses to collect more light. And this structure so makes the shape of bokeh very creamy. The bokeh will be so the better than 56mm f1.2. So like this. So this is the biggest advantage of brightest aperture in our XF lens lineup. And another unique point is autofocus. So here you see the focusing lens group. So the front lens group, so these lens groups works for creating so the image, and the rear lens group mainly working for autofocus. So we separate the load of lens group. Front is making so photo image. The rear group is mainly working for autofocus. So and this structure realizes autofocus on the fastest aperture lens. So then today, so I brought a very early prototype sample. It's actually working. Okay, that's, you see? Okay, maybe that here. Very nice bokeh background. So this is very early prototype sample. So today, so this lens only working with contrast AF. But even contrast autofocus, so it's actually very quickly, I can adjust focus like this. Okay, I pass this on to the guest. Okay, you can try.
Now I have to choose who to point it at.
Yeah. I think you've got a lot of victims.
Yeah, I know most of these people. You all look 10 years younger than you did last time I saw you 10 years ago. There we go.
It's pretty quick.
Yeah, it's not bad. Very nice.
So this is currently just contrast.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
You say this is
Keep it pointed up.
just contrast.
Just contrast,
AF
yes.
at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
In the final version, it will work with phase detection pixels. So much quicker.
What's the filter size on the front?
77, I believe. Yeah.
77. Okay.
So that started out life as a 35mm originally, was the...
Oh, yes. So the first three, so we planned to produce 33mm f1.0, But we, after some development, so the technical, so the investigation, so we found so the lens become very big and heavier, and also the autofocus is a little bit slower. So that's the reason we changed the focal length to 50 millimeter.
Oh, there we go. So it's effectively become a portrait lens, basically.
Yes, yes, yes.
System.
That's create very beautiful bokeh.
I'd love to film with this. It just got, with the added weight to it, the
Yeah.
stabilization, I feel, is just physically there.
Yeah.
Just literally adding more to the body is making it very nice indeed.
It's a very nice way of saying it's a heavy lens, Joe.
It's a benefit, for sure. I don't want to point that anywhere awkward.
Okay. Thank you very much. So, okay, so let me summarize this part. Okay, so this is a XF, so the lens lineup. So 50 millimeter f1.0, so will be the 35th X mount lens. And in the next 12 months, we plan to introduce 3 more lenses. Yeah, it will be 38 lenses, so for X mount by the end of this year. So please wait for our further announcement. Okay, and we move on the discussion about camera. So today, I'm going to talk about X100. So here today we brought 4 X100. So from first generation to fourth generation X100F. So it was 9 years ago, in 2011, we introduced the first generation of X100. So as you can see, we didn't change the basic camera concept. So all 4 models probably look similar. So Fujifilm has kept the camera and design concept for 9 years. For example, analog dials for photographic control, and 23 millimeter fixed focal length lens, and very unique hybrid viewfinder. So these are the essential points, or I say the soul of X100. And the soul have been carried by every generation of X100. So, but looking at the inside of the camera, so we keep improving technology, such as sensor and processor. So first generation, X100 had only 12 megapixels and no phase detection pixels. And now X100F, so it's a 24 megapixel X trans 3 sensor and with over 2 million phase detection pixels. So we have not changed the basic camera concept, but we have upgraded the shooting function with the latest digital shooting technology, like X100F. So then the question to ourselves, to Fujifilm, is what will be coming on next generation? So today, Fujifilm announced new X100. So we call it X100B.
この 100V は美しいカメラだと思ってます。
撮る人の気持ちを喚起するデザイン。
一言で言いますとなんかこう魂がこもってるカメラ。
Okay, so this is a X100B, 5th generation of X100 series. So we keep concept, keep same soul, but there are many new things inside. Brand new lens, new sensor, new hybrid viewfinder, upgraded dial control, new tilt screen, weather resistance, more film simulation. And so the design, so it is covered by very beautiful aluminum top cover. So, okay, so let me go through each new point one by one. So the first one is new lens. So actually we used the same lens unit from first generation to fourth generation. But this time, so we have full renewal of 23mm f2.0 lens. So the focal length and aperture number is not changed, it's same. But the lens resolution is improved a lot. Simply say it's very sharp lens we developed. So as you can see, this shows the lens construction. So there are two aspherical glasses in the middle, so this blue part. So this lens structure help to increase the resolution without making lens unit bigger. So this is a comparison. So all the X100F lens, right side, left side is the new lens. So here you can see, so the size is almost identical, but you will see the difference of image quality, especially resolution and contrast. And also because this lens is developed specifically for X100, we could design the glass element to be optimized for our X-trans sensor. So X100B has X-trans 4 sensor, which has backside illuminated structure. So X-trans 4 has, simply say, wider angle of incident comparing to other sensors. So we designed the X100B to deliver the light into the wider angle of incident, fully adjusted, optimized to the sensor. So as a result, the lens can capture the light more effectively, even at the corner of the image. So you can see clearly. So this is a old X100F, and this is a X100B. So more very clear, very sharp number you can see. Okay. And the next is a hybrid viewfinder. Also, this is the new. So new hybrid viewfinder, that has a OLED panel, which has 3.69 million dots. So higher resolution, higher contrast, and wider color space, and much smoother live image. So third point is a tilt screen. So X100 series, these 4 models, so we never had tilt LCD. So it was because we didn't want to spoil the beautiful style and design. So like this. And this X100B, so this is a backside of X100B. So it looks very flat, almost no gap. However, it tilts like this. That's very good for the west level shooting, especially for street photography. So we invented this ultra thin tilt LCD. Thickness is just only 4.4 millimeter. So very beautiful tilt LCD we developed. Okay. And X100 series is a perfect camera, especially when you are traveling. And actually, we received a lot of requests from customers about weather resistance. And finally, we achieved it. It's actually the same reason. We didn't want to spoil the design concept. If the weather resistant makes camera bigger, we didn't use it. But this time, finally, we achieved a weather resistant function with keeping the camera size and design. So only one note, only one point is you need to put the filter in front of the lens to be fully weather resistant. So it will be like this. So you need adapter so to have the filter. And so camera will look like this. Okay. And next is a dial control. Okay. So improvement of operability is always our focus, very important point. So this time we changed ISO control dial here. You don't need to keep this dial pulling up to rotate. You just simply pull up, and then the ring keeps the rotating position. And then you can easily change ISO, so the rotate ISO. Don't need to keep pulling up and so the rotate. So just pull up. It's very easy. And the next is a film simulation, image quality. So many people think X100 is mainly for still photography. But it would be nice to capture nice 4K movie as well. So X100B can shoot 4K 30p movie. And also this camera has eternal film simulation mode. So especially we created for the movie shooting, eternal mode. And for the still shooting photographers, so we added classic negative mode, which is installed in X Pro 3 and last year. So this is a character of classic negative film mode. So comparing to positive film, so the category. So the classic nega mode has the harder, tonality is a bit harder, but little bit less saturation. So this is a basic character of classic negative mode. So it's very good for snap shooting. So, and everybody can remember, so old film shooting style, film camera time. Okay, the last one is the design. So actually today we have a designer, so coming from Fuji headquarters, so Masa Imai here. So I pass on this presentation to Imai-san, please.
Okay. Let's start design part. Okay. Thank you for coming today. I am a design manager of X and GFX series exterior design. And I also designed this X100V. The design concept of the X100V is to enhance the beauty of the camera. I intended to be simpler and sharper and higher quality. Specifically, the design has been refined through simplification, such as by increasing the flat keynote and aligning the top cover and leather part line. In addition, I pursued more beautiful arrangement and balance of each design element, such as dials, windows, buttons, and so on. Okay, let me explain in more detail. The top cover designed for sharpening the edge, aiming for higher quality expression. To realize this design, we developed world's first forming method using aluminum materials in collaboration with a supplier. We call it multi-process acrylic forming. And this is a construction method that combines stamping and cutting, and total appearance is very beautiful, I think. And because it is the same as cutting out the entire surface. And this is also an innovative method that can mass produce this sharp edge and beautiful surface at appropriate cost. So I want you to take a closer look. Okay, and the finish of this top cover has adapted silky processing with very fine grain with delicate brightness to improve the texture quality. Okay, and in black version, this one, I pursued deep black. Very good combination with simple and sharp design. Okay, next is the LCD part. As Shin told before, this is a very important point. Thanks to engineers, completely flat and fully integrated with the body has been realized. So I would be grateful if you check this part by yourself carefully. Okay. And next is operation system. Operation system unifies the part with this 8-direction joystick to secure the rich thumb space. And new thumb grip here has been added to improve grip. And the Q button is here, just beside thumb. But this button is arranged to prevent malfunction. Okay, before finish design part, I'd like to show the bottom. Here again, I removed the marks and symbols and pursued simple beauty in the whole body. Okay, I want to deliver the beautifully enveloped X100V to everyone as soon as possible. Thank you.
So we'd like to hear from our guests this evening. Valerie, I know you've had some time with the product, and we'd like to hear more about yourself and your thoughts on the X100V.
Yes, hi everyone. I'm Valérie Jardin, and I'm from France, but currently in the US, and I'm one of the ex-photographers for FUJIFILM USA. Well, first of all, I've been shooting with this camera, not this one, but from the S on for over 7 years now. That camera is an extension of my vision. That's the only camera I care about. It's the only camera I shoot with, except until now, when it rained, I had to take out the X Pro 2, but now I don't have to, which is great. So I'm really excited because I met this camera, as I said, 7 years ago, and it was love at first click. And when I like I'm not a gearhead. I'm an educator. I'm a podcaster, and I'm an author. I'm a photographer, and what I mean by that, to me, the camera has to become an extension of me, and it's a tool. I don't need to try every camera out there. Those guys like gear a lot more than I do. For me, once I find something I like, I buy 2 of them. And so thank you. I don't have a black one. I always had the silver. I think it's such a sexy camera. So I fell in love with this camera, and that's really, that's what I have all the time. I take it everywhere with me. I teach all over the world, and this is the camera that fits me. The dials are awesome. I don't like going into menus, and with this camera, everything is there. I can use those dials without even looking. I do street photography, and some of you may be street photographers, and you have a fraction of a second to capture a moment, a special moment in somebody's life. And you can't not be looking in a menu to change a setting. Everything has to be ready. And the reason, first of all, why I fell in love with that camera was because of the dials and because of the film simulations, because I believe in getting the shot in camera as much as possible without relying on post-processing. So the fixed focal length is perfect for me. It's a great focal length for street photography. And the limitations of having just that one focal length makes you a better photographer, in my opinion. Some people may disagree, but anyways. So what's not to like about the V? Well, I love it. First of all, it's V like Valerie, so what is not to like? And so the weather resistance was really a big one for me. As I said before, I always had to have a backup camera with me when I traveled, and I used to take the X Pro 2 with the 23, same focal length, but it was weather resistant. So that's what I would take in the rain. There is magic in rain when you're a street photographer. So having your camera, the one that you know best, and being able to be out there with it without having to shield it from the elements is awesome. Also, the new lens, all around a new experience, I would say. It's sharp, everything's fast, it's just all around awesome. I did not want a tilt screen, full disclosure. I've been always open about that because I didn't want it to, well, I didn't feel like I needed one until recently. I did not want it to be like a big bulky thing in the back. When I got this camera, I was shocked at how thin it is. I couldn't even tell it was a tilt screen until I saw the little notch here. So you guys did an awesome job because now actually I'm using a tilt screen for the first time, and I can see the benefits. You know, as a street photographer, it's all about being stealth and invisible. And so I've used it quite a few times on some of the shots you're seeing here. I spent 2 days in Paris with the camera and a few hours here in London. And I found myself using the tilt screen a lot more than I thought I would. So I'm sold on that. So I love it, and I'm excited. I know so many people are looking forward to this because we waited a long time for it, so it's here.
Thank you, Valerie.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Some beautiful images as well. So Joe, you've had some time with the camera. It'd be great to hear your thoughts on the camera.
Yeah, so I've still not properly shot with the camera, but I had my first experience seeing it earlier, and my first impressions were how it's surprising to know how much better the X100F could look. So in terms of the refinements, and I think that's such a key sort of analysis of this, is that everything feels so refined. It could sound iterative, but when you actually look at it and you start to realize there's more to actually see the more you look at it. So yeah, just immediately on visual appearance, it was great. You start noticing various different things. But for me, the X100 has been, as you say, it was the soul of the X100. To me, it's the soul of my camera bag. The X100F is the camera that I want to pick up all of the time. It's the one that when I hand to other people, they just can't help but shoot more with. It's so exciting and friendly as a single device. And like you said, the limitations, they make the camera what it is. That's a huge aspect to it. So I'm extremely excited to hopefully shoot with this and get some better like detailed look on it. But as a further background, I think there's a little video kind of showing a bit more about who I am and what I do. So I am a travel photographer, filmmaker. I make videos about photography with the aim to inspire people to take photos and get involved in the tech and see the world doing it. So yeah, if we could
show the video,
roll the clip. So as you can kind of see in a few of those clips, one of my favorite areas of shooting is in the rain. Like you said, magic just comes out, especially in urban scenarios with the glass and the brickwork and everything. When it gets wet, it's beautiful. and having not been able to pick my X100 when I want to shoot in those scenarios is crushing, because I'd love to be able to use such a small form factor camera that is powerful and not have to wrestle with extra cameras and umbrellas and all sorts and big lenses. So the weather sealing, and I can see here with the filter on, it really doesn't add very much to it at all. So it's the same form factor, but now you can use it anywhere in the rain. I love that. It's great.
Great. Thanks, Joe. Fantastic.
So Joe, I have one question. So in your video, so the YouTube channel,
Yeah.
so I think in the past you had some wish list
Yes.
for X100.
I did.
It was 11 wish list.
Yep.
So I think you made it when we launched X100F or T? Or?
That video was released coming up a year ago.
Okay, probably X100F. And then you made a wish list.
Mm-hmm.
And thinking of the wish list, what do you think about new X100V?
It ticks almost all of them.
Almost all of them. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So, which part?
The absolute top of my list was the weather sealing.
Weather sealing.
I would be happy with just that. But adding the tilt screen was equally a huge aspect. And I know it's kind of controversial to people, but the tilt screen to me, it's there if you need it, and here it's kind of not there if you don't need it. It's so hidden. You've done a great job with the design on this, Masa. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
and a few of the other factors, I think they're potentially quite personal to me. I don't think I'm the general user when it comes to some of my other requests. But one thing I'm extremely happy with is this change in material on the top. So going to the aluminium, it's such, you can't really see it in the images, but when you see it in your hand, and especially against the other four, you start to realize just how premium the matte finish is, and the sort of dusting of these dials so they're no longer as shiny. It really adds to the whole experience of it. And if it makes you feel good shooting with it, you're going to choose it more.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
Thanks,
I
Joe.
also like really the touching this edge of the X100V. It's very nice. Yeah. So probably you will carry more X100 because
Absolutely,
weather resistance due to screen. Okay. Thank you very much.
So, Barney, obviously you're from Deeper Review, and you look at it from a different perspective.
I'm normally on that side asking the normal
Yeah, exactly.
questions, not on this side.
Yeah. So give us a little bit of insight, actually. So what do you expect your readers and your followers to be looking at, and how would you review this kind of camera?
Well, I mean, this is the development of this camera actually spans almost my entire career at DP Review, so, which is, about 9-10 years. And it's a very, very popular line of cameras with our readers. I don't know if I'm sure you're aware they're a fairly critical bunch.
Yeah.
And it's a camera that we end up recommending a lot to our readers through its various iterations, and also just to our friends, because one of the reasons I think it's been so popular in its various forms over the years is there's nothing really else out there. If you want a large sensor with an EVF, this is the only game in town. I think the biggest things I think that this camera really addresses from feedback that I have heard and from our own feedback from testing previous cameras, the redesigned lens is definitely a good move. That's overdue. I think the sensor was beginning to stress the lens, in the last generation. A lot of people I know, like Joe and like Valerie, the weather sealing has been a very big issue. Even if you're not taking it out into the rain all the time, I have heard reports of people getting dust and things like that in the viewfinder optics that can be quite distracting. So any moves made to seal the camera are always going to be welcome. The higher resolution sensor, obviously it's faster. And I think nobody is really going to complain about a tilt screen that you can ignore. If it added so much bulk to the back of the camera that it constantly reminded you of its presence, I think that would potentially be quite irritating. But the fact is, you can just put this flush to the back of the camera and never realize it's even there. Yeah. So no, I think, honestly, I think this is a camera that we will probably recommend and that our readers will respond extremely well to. Fujifilm X100 series have been amongst the most, I would say, loved and by a very, very loyal portion of our audience for the past decade. So, and it's a camera that I know you you want to make very sure you don't get wrong when you make the next generation,
Yeah.
because of that loyalty
Sure,
that we
sure.
see
Yes,
in our
yes, yes.
comments and our
Yeah.
forum threads. And, you know, I definitely think they'll appreciate the changes that we made this time around.
Yeah.
And thank you for giving me an excuse to take pictures in London for the first time in 10 years as well. Great, thank you.
Thanks for all the comments, fantastic, and the feedback's very, very welcome. So, pass over to Shin.
Okay, so let me talk about the availability and price and the retail price. So that you can see, so that it will be the $1,399 US, so 1,299 British pound, excluding VAT. And X100B has two colors, silver and black. Silver will be available at the end of this month, so end of February. And black will be coming a little bit later in March. So you will so soon see in this camera in the shop front. Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. So before we close, I was wondering, I'm going to open the floor up. Have you got any questions about any of the products that we've seen this evening? You have a question?
I've got one. Do you
Okay.
want to kick off?
Yeah, go on. One up.
I'm going to channel the DP review readers and ask for it to have a full frame sensor, an f1.4 lens, and if it could be kept the same size, weight, and cost as well, that would be great.
Right. Okay. Tick, tick, tick. Okay. Yeah, please make a note.
That's probably how big? I don't know, but it's super big.
Yeah.
Just work on it.
Yeah.
Probably
John.
the 1.4 will be the bigger factor to make the camera lens bigger.
John, pass your microphone there.
Hi, John Devo. I was curious, what do you think are going to be the real selling points for people upgrading from the previous model? I know you said the weather sealing is quite compelling for you guys, but I'd like to know what you think.
Sure. I think so. Of course, weather resistance and also tilt screen. So especially so, if the customer really like film camera, maybe they just focus on VF or optical viewfinder shooting. But nowadays, digital time, so everybody knows the convenience of the tilt screen and shooting like this. So I also have a X100 owner. I'm an X100 owner. So this weather resistance and tilt screen is my biggest factor. So for that to replace, to switch to the new one. Yeah. And also this design, very nice.
Great.
Something we've not discussed that was on the spec sheet. I think the battery life, that hasn't been mentioned, but it was...
Battery life...
It was
450 shots.
yeah, it's
we know very well.
significantly better.
Gone through the spec sheet.
450.
Yeah.
430 or 450.
Any other questions? Chris?
Hi, Chris, Digital
Yeah.
Camera World. Weren't you tempted to make weatherproofing a standard on the camera? So it doesn't seem to make it much bigger, but is that increment in pricing?
Sure.
Are you referring to the fact that you have to use the adapter?
Yeah,
or?
that you didn't do that as standard as a weatherproof thing.
It comes to the construction of the lens itself. So when you switch the camera on, you see the movement in the front element of the lens.
So,
So without-
inside of the lens, actually this moves.
Yeah.
So like this. So there is a small gap in the outer ring and inside of the lens. So to protect from the, especially the rainwater, so we need to attach the filter.
Otherwise, you end up changing the whole construction of the whole lens. That becomes even bigger.
So yeah, if we allow this one, the camera itself bigger like this, so we can do weather resistance, so the X100 like this. But actually, we didn't like lens part become thicker. So the standard one is this. So the keep concept, keep same size. So then when customers attach link like this, then it will be weather resistance.
So the focusing system in the new X100V, is it comparable to the XT3 or has it been improved at all?
Yes, so the basic, so the system. So basic autofocus, so the system is so the same as generation 4 system. It means XT3, so T30, X Pro 3.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Any other questions? Any other questions?
And also, so this new lens also the focusing speed is quicker than old lens.
Okay, well, thank you for that. Thank you, everyone. Before we move on, I think we've got one final segment.
Yes. So for the last session, so from our boss, so the Toshi Ida, unfortunately he couldn't come to London, so today, but we have received video message from him. So please watch it.
Hi everybody, thank you very much for watching X Summit in London. I'm Toshi Ida. Sorry I couldn't be a part and missing all of you, but I hope you enjoyed looking at new lenses, particularly X100V. Here I am in front of our new office. It is still in the middle of construction. All members, including R&D, marketing, quality control, and production control people, will work together here to deliver new innovative products. We expect it will open summer this year. So 2020 will continue to be very busy and very exciting year for us. Oh, the last but not least, I have one more news for you. X100V is not a camera we announced this month. We have one more camera. The camera will be called XT4. We will know the detail of XT4 on the day of official announcement. It will be February 26th. Please stay tuned and please look forward to it. Thank you.
So, thank you, Toshi. Okay, XT4 will be announced on February 26th.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for tuning in this evening.